Hey guys, what is up? It is the Fast Break Report here, bringing you guys another vlog. So, I kind of wanted to make this video because I feel like this player gets a lot of unfair criticism. And as of recently, this player has gotten more opportunity for some unfortunate circumstances, but it's DeAndre Ayton. I want to talk about DeAndre Ayton because the fact of the matter is, man, everybody acts like DeAndre Ayton is a bad player, and that kind of irritates me because he got the huge contract. It's not even a huge contract extension anymore by NBA standards. I mean, to be honest, like 4 years, $133 million really is almost kind of in the ballpark for what DeAndre Ayton provides these days as of the past year. You know, when guys like Jaylen Brown are getting $300 million, $133 million over 4 years doesn't seem like the end of the world. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not advocating to trade for him or any of that stuff. I want to get that out of the way early because we have Pascal Siakam. But for a while, I did want the Pacers to pick up DeAndre Ayton and even the front office wanted him because it was obvious that Miles Turner by himself was not enough. You know, or we needed somebody who could do it by themselves. Now that we have Siakam, Miles gets to play more of a natural role, you know, as to what he's accustomed to, so it really doesn't matter anymore. But, you know, a lot of stuff happened in the offseason. DeAndre Ayton came out and coined the term dominating and all this other stuff, and really hasn't been doing that. Okay, like he's really been a guy who's been kind of relegated to a sixth option, which is fucking crazy if you think about it. You know, the entire year, it was DeAndre Ayton went there and we were kind of like, wow, DeAndre Ayton's going to have a big year, right? Then they re-signed Jeremy Grant to a ridiculous contract extension. Anthony Simons came back. They traded for Malcolm Brogdon, right? Like they traded Damian Lillard, ended up getting Drew Holiday and Malcolm Brogdon. Then they traded Drew Holiday. They brought back Matisse Thybulle. They have Shaedon Sharpe, who obviously was going to get minutes. Then they drafted Scoot Henderson. So just in the offseason alone, they made 3 moves that were like, you know, pretty much guaranteed to make it so DeAndre Ayton didn't see the ball as much. They drafted Scoot Henderson. They traded Damian Lillard and got Malcolm Brogdon. They extended Jeremy Grant to a ridiculous contract, and you have the development of Shaedon Sharpe. So that's already 4 guys that we're going to most likely see touches way before DeAndre Ayton ever became a priority, right? Well, as of recently, Anthony Simons has gotten injured, Malcolm Brogdon has gotten injured, Jeremy Grant has been injured, Scoot Henderson has been injured. Like, really, it's Shaedon Sharpe and DeAndre Ayton right now. Like, that's what the Portland Trailblazers are kind of rolling with. And DeAndre Ayton has made the most of the opportunity. I'm just gonna say that. His past 4 out of 5 games for him have been phenomenal, okay? Last night against Joel Embiid, okay? Now, it is Joel Embiid, but he had a box plus minus of plus 28 against Joel Embiid. He put up 28 points, only had 2 personal fouls, which against Joel Embiid is really fucking good. If you only foul twice and play 31 minutes against Joel Embiid, I think you're doing pretty fucking good, okay? Because they call him the free throw merchant for a reason, okay? He only had 2 personal fouls. He had 1 steal, 2 assists, and 6 rebounds. They were all defensive rebounds, but he shot 9 of 14 from the floor, so he shot 64% from the field, and they actually won that game. They beat Philadelphia. They beat the brakes off of Philadelphia, actually. They won 130 to 104. And that's not it. The game before that, they played the Chicago Bulls. DeAndre Ayton put up 22 points, had 0 fouls, 0 turnovers, 1 block, 1 assist, and 12 rebounds, while shooting 75% from the floor, with a game score of 22.6. The game before that, okay, against San Antonio, against Victor Wembanyama, okay, they lost that game. They lost the game against Chicago as well, but he put up 20 points, you know, had 2 steals, 2 assists, and 12 rebounds while shooting 58% from the floor. He had 2 fouls, 2 turnovers. Not the end of the world. He was a -8. Okay? But then, against Houston, the game before that, he had an 18 and 17 with box plus minus of plus 15, game score of 21.9, 18 points, 3 fouls, 1 turnover, 2 blocks, 1 steal, 3 assists, and he shot 61% from the field, okay? DeAndre Ayton is almost a perennial 20-12 guy, okay, when he gets the opportunity. And that's what I really want to point out. A lot of people are like, they'll look at his stats for Portland, they're like, well, he's playing 31 minutes a game, he's only shooting 54% from the field, he's only putting up 13 and 10, he's only averaging 1 steal a game and 0.7 blocks, he's shooting 80% from the free throw line, essentially, he's not shooting threes at all this year. But the fact of the matter is, okay, I'm just going to say this, DeAndre Ayton is a better player than people give him credit for. And the only reason his numbers are so low is because he went from being a 3rd option on the Phoenix Suns to being like a 5th or 6th option with the Portland Trailblazers, and somehow is still managing to put up 13 and 10. Like, I don't think people realize how good that is for a guy who's being basically relegated to the 6th man role or a bench center role for this team. I mean, he's obviously not their bench center, but he's putting up bench level center production because he's simply not a focus of their offense. And if DeAndre Ayton went to a team, like, honestly, if DeAndre Ayton went to a team like the Orlando Magic, right, and he went there and they became like if he became like their number 2 option, or even Chicago, right, if DeAndre Ayton went to any team that would just prioritize him in some capacity, I guarantee you the guy puts up like maybe 25 and 14 every night with a block, okay? Like, people really like to, and I get it, like, he kind of brought it on himself. A lot of people look at DeAndre Ayton and go, he was a number 1 pick, he's a bust, he's this, he's that. But the fact of the matter is, DeAndre Ayton has never once played in a system where he's been the primary guy, right? Like, even Scoot Henderson, as fucking shitty as Scoot Henderson is playing this year, Scoot Henderson is getting more opportunity than DeAndre Ayton. Why? Because he's supposed to be the second coming of Damian Lillard, right? He's supposed to be the guy that takes the reins for the franchise. And the fact of the matter is, if you look around the league, there are not a lot of teams that prioritize the center position. There's only 2 of them, okay? The 76ers and the Denver Nuggets, and it's because their best player plays the center position, right? I would argue even like if the Mavericks didn't draft Derek Lively, right, and he's looked like a promising young rookie, right? Like, you're starting to see that centers are becoming a thing around the NBA. Like, do-it-all centers are becoming a thing. You got Joel Embiid, you got Nikola Jokic, you have Chet Holmgren, you have Victor Wembanyama, right? Like, we're seeing more and more that the center position is actually becoming important again in the NBA. I would argue that it's maybe a 30% transition at the moment. Like, there's only a handful of teams that, you know, the center is like their best player on the team or the second best player on their team. But if DeAndre Ayton just went to one team that would prioritize him, okay, I promise you the dude puts up bonkers fucking numbers, okay? Now, granted, that doesn't make up for his shortcomings in the playoffs and stuff like that. Like, he's had his moments in the playoffs, but he's also had, like, really bad moments in the playoffs. But the fact of the matter is, DeAndre Ayton, regardless of what people think about him, is a solid basketball player. You know, I know people get caught up in the Twitter bullshit and, you know, the stuff that comes out in the press, but the fact of the matter is, like, I see Pacers fans who criticize the shit out of DeAndre Ayton are like, oh, he went to Portland and he isn't playing well, but Miles Turner can come out and guarantee a fucking all-star appearance and it's not gonna happen, okay? Like, he made all these claims in the offseason, oh, you know, I'm going to the all-star game and all this other shit, right? Every year, Miles makes promises to the team and to the fans and never fucking fulfills them. And somehow, some way, we're worried about DeAndre Ayton, who's not even on our fucking team, right? But it's just the idea. I think the narrative that DeAndre Ayton is a bad basketball player is just... honestly, it's blasphemous to me. Like, the idea that people think he's a bad player is just mind-blowing to me. Because... he's a guy that simply just needs to go to a place that will give him opportunity. And granted, there's not a lot of teams in the leagues that can do that, but like the Washington Wizards would be that would be an ideal situation for him. Like, I'm just gonna call it what it is. Like, if DeAndre Ayton could find a way to get to the Washington Wizards, that would be an ideal situation for him, because their best center is Daniel Gafford, and DeAndre Ayton's a guy that, like, yeah, you have Jordan Poole and you have Kyle Kuzma. I have a feeling that the Wizards are going to be trying to move one of those guys at some point, okay? But if the Wizards could find a way to acquire a guy like DeAndre Ayton, I think they'd be doing pretty good. You know, even honestly, even with the Washington Wizards, they're a team that I think should maybe even get involved in like DeJounte Murray. Like get rid of Jordan Poole or Kyle Kuzma if you can, and pick up DeJounte Murray. They're a team that, like, honestly, now that they're off the Bradley Beal contract, granted they got stuck with Jordan Poole's contract, but they're a team that, like, if DeAndre Ayton could go there, I guarantee you he's an all-star. Like, I'm just going to call it what it is. Like, if DeAndre Ayton went to a team like the Wizards where they need a good center, that they could prioritize him, okay, he would be an all-star, a perennial all-star. So that's all. That's all I wanted to say. Because I get tired of hearing the fucking narrative all the time, man. Like, oh, DeAndre Ayton's bad. DeAndre Ayton's overpaid. DeAndre Ayton this. DeAndre Ayton that. And I'm just like, bro, I'm like, when he gets opportunity, when you give him more than fucking 9 shots a game or 10 shots a game, when you start giving him 14, 16 shots a game, the dude starts producing at a solid level. And honestly, if the Portland Trailblazers come off of Malcolm Brogdon, if they come off of Robert Williams, Matisse Thybulle, Jeremy Grant specifically, if the Portland Trailblazers come off of any of those guys, right? Specifically Malcolm Brogdon and Jeremy Grant, if they come off of those two guys at this trade deadline, you're going to see it. I'm just going to let you know, you're going to see it. You're going to see DeAndre Ayton start putting up some pretty crazy numbers. Because honestly, I don't really know what's going on with Scoot Henderson. Shaedon Sharpe has been all right. Like, he hasn't been great. Like, we know the talent's there, but even his numbers haven't been super crazy. But it would be nice to see Portland prioritize DeAndre Ayton just to see, you know, what he could actually become as a guy that's prioritized. Yeah, Shaedon Sharpe's numbers this year are really not that great. 40% from the field, 33% from 3. 82% from the free throw line is pretty good, but he's averaging 16 a game. Shaedon Sharpe's a guy that efficiency-wise needs to get a lot better. His rookie year was very good, but I don't know. He's in his second year, sophomore slump. You know, we see that a lot in the NBA, so I'm not going to go too crazy about that. But anyway, tell me what you guys think about this down below in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on this. A like helps me out. Subscribe if you guys want to see more. I'm the Fast Break Report, and I'm out of this motherfucker. Peace, guys.